Now, let's get an update on the floods affecting southern New South Wales and northern Victoria. Our reporter Danny Morgan joins us from Nathalia in Victoria's north, and the ABC's Siobhan Heanue joins us from Wagga Wagga in southern New South Wales. Good morning to you both. Siobhan, let me just start with you. You're in one of the hardest hit spots of Wagga Wagga. Just take us through the evacuations that happened there overnight.
That's right, Karina. Well, last night, residents in the area of North Wagga and surrounding suburbs were given the orders to pack up and leave. They had very little time to do that. Basically, trucks and trailers were coming to and fro in those suburbs all night long. We were wandering around at about 9:30, 10 p.m, and people were still in a flurry trying to get their treasured possessions out. The Army was called in. Army, Navy and Air Force personnel from local bases were all sandbagging, trucks and trailers pulling up at rapid speed and departing, laden with sandbags to take back to homes and premises that were under threat. Now, the road to those suburbs was cut off, a bridge in fact, was cut off at about 5:30 this morning. That's because the river behind me, the Murrumbidgee, had reached at that point what is classified as major flooding level of about 9.6. In fact, it's around the 9.5 metre level now. So that means those areas can no longer be accessed in or out, and it's expected that the floodwaters will still rise over the next couple of days.
Now, Danny Morgan, let's bring you in. You're in Nathalia, which is the next flashpoint for this flooding.
That's right. I'm standing on the bridge in the centre of Nathalia, and below me is the Broken Creek, which further upstream at Numurkah is in record flood at the moment. Numurkah yesterday, I think about 40 houses and businesses, including the hospital, were inundated. The hospital evacuated for a time, and the water's all flowing west to Nathalia, about 20 k's away, and is expected to get here in the next couple of days. So there's plenty of work going on around town, sandbagging and setting up levee banks, particularly to the southeast and to the north of town. Lots of hard work going there. But the good news this morning is that the situation has eased somewhat in Numurkah. The water level seems to be going down there, so it's unlikely that there will be new homes today in Numurkah that are inundated. Though we've just got news further, a long way further to the northeast at Walwa. There's been some evacuations this morning, 100 or so people taking shelter at the local hospital there. That's on the Upper Murray River near Jugiong, where an enormous amount of rain has fallen in the past week up there. But yeah, back in the Goulburn Valley here, there's a lot of preparations going on. The water is in pretty flat country here and will be lying around for quite a few days. And yeah, Nathalia is the next town in line.
Siobhan, let me just come back to you. And you talked about the river level. That's still not at its highest point, is it? That's expected to peak sometime tomorrow.
That's right. Tuesday evening, they're expecting that it will hit its predicted peak of about 10 metres, but it may eventually go higher than that. Now, I was speaking to the Mayor of Wagga, Kerry Pascoe, at first light, or in fact before dawn this morning, down by the river, and he said that it had risen much faster than he expected overnight, and he's seen a few floods in his time. Now, he was actually out late at night as well, sandbagging with the locals. He said that people are fairly scared, and I talked to a few people who were getting stuck into some hard work there, and they said this is going to be a pretty big flood, particularly those areas of North Wagga. They're very concerned about what's going to happen. But it's not just Wagga that's affected by this water flowing down the Murrumbidgee. The town of Gundagai, just upstream, is also expecting major flooding this morning. About the 10.9 metre mark is what's expected very soon, and there have just been fresh evacuation orders issued in Gundagai this morning. Even parts of the main street have been ordered to get out, and there are definitely homes under threat. Then south of Wagga, there are townships that are completely underwater, including the hamlet of the Rock. There are a few dozen evacuees, in fact around about 300, I should correct myself, who have come from the Rock, who are now taking shelter at the Senior Citizen Centre in Wagga. Now, as for those people who are living in Wagga who've been evacuated, most of them, fortunately, have managed to find shelter with friends or family in town. The Mayor, once again, he owns a motel, and he's actually had to put some people up in some of his rooms. So there has been enough accommodation found, emergency accommodation, for those people who've had to leave their homes very rapidly overnight throughout the region.
Now, Danny, there are major preparations, as you said, underway in Nathalia, including the Army has been brought in there as well.
That's right, there's 36 soldiers who are here to work on the levee banks, fill sandbags and drag them out to people's houses. There's one house to the north of the town that they've just come across the bridge here this morning before with some sandbags to help out there. There's a lot of heavy digging equipment coming into town. A big truck just came by with some digging equipment to protect the levee banks. So enormous amount of work going in here. You wouldn't know that you're in a flood region at the moment. It's very clear here. The cockatoos, as you can hear behind me, are just waking up. So all clear, but clear weather for the next few days around here, but the water is still going to come down from Numurkah.
Danny Morgan in Nathalia, thank you very much. And Siobhan Heanue in Wagga Wagga, thank you. We'll come back to you later on in the morning. Thank you.